Anyway, what do you guys say we go and review this manga?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's
do that.
Jay, would you like to tell us about what this manga is that you've picked for us?
Sure. So I decided to pick Magi by Shinobu Ohtaka. Published in Weekly Shonen Sunday. I don't know the years. I'm sorry, but we
don't have that information on hand.
No. But we each read volume 1, and we're going to discuss it. What we thought about it, whether we liked it, whether we didn't like it, who we'd recommend it to, that kind of thing. But first, I think we should give our predictions of how each of us feel about it.
Okay. I'll start then. Jay.
Yep.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Yep.
I'm gonna say you enjoy this manga.
Okay.
Mike, I think Mike also enjoyed it. I think Mike may continue to read it. If I may be so bold as to predict.
Very bold of you. I believe that Cole did not care for this manga. And I believe that Jay did care for this manga, but maybe it didn't quite live up to his expectations.
Jay?
I think that Cole did not like volume 1.
Okay.
And then Mike didn't love it, but he didn't hate it as much as Cole did.
I think we're united that we think Cole didn't like it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Shall we reveal what we actually thought now?
Shall we?
And we're not talking spoilers, right? Because there's no time for that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we only read the first 7 chapters.
I don't think that there's really many spoilers in volume 1.
There was nothing too powerful there.
The first
really.
2 chapters were basically standalone chapters.
Yeah.
I don't know why you guys think I hated it. I didn't hate it. It was fun. I'm intrigued, like what Aladdin is, who he is.
How would you guys summarize the story thus far, kind of? Like, what would you say if someone asked you, what's this about? What would you say it is about?
It's based on 12 Arabian Nights, is what I would say.
Yeah, it's Lil Boy has a genie and a recorder thing.
Yeah, it's like in a flute.
Yeah,
or something.
That caught me off guard.
Yeah. He goes on little adventures.
Yeah. They kind of touch on the story, but like the dungeon thing that's later on the volume, that's kind of like one of the main things of the story.
Okay.
Is them going into dungeons. I've read the entire Magi series before, so I know more about it. But I'm
lukewarm on it, leaning into warm.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Am I going to continue reading it? Stay tuned and find out.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I read the first 3 and I was kind of like, I'm not loving this. And then I kind of got into like the last 4 because the first volume's 7 chapters.
Yeah.
And it left on a pretty good cliffhanger. So I think I read chapter 8 as well. But I didn't drop it, but I paused it. So I don't know if I'll go back to it. It might get dropped at some point, but I, like Cole said, warm to lukewarm. We're talking like a 40-degree water here. Celsius.
Celsius.
The gentleman's temperature.
For me, going back and reading the early chapters, I didn't realize how different it is from the later stuff.
Oh.
Because like this was very, very different from the Magi I remember, and the Magi that is in later stuff that happens. Because like they briefly mention it, but like there's that story about how the guy that conquered the first dungeon became a king later on. That's important, for example.
Okay. I kind of got the vibes from this just as being like kind of a seasoned shonen fan. That like it's one of those cases where like in One Piece where it starts off as like a silly goofy little boys show, and then like as it grows it kind of becomes a lot more complex and has like the freedom. It doesn't need to sell on anyone anymore, but it has the freedom to do a little more adventurous and more deep concepts.
Yeah, I think with long running shonens like that, like it's growing up with its reader, right?
Yeah, and
so
that's
it'll
kind
start
of
off as a young man's show or manga. And then as the reader grows up, they're looking for
And that's kind of another thing, like with shonen manga, or really just like manga in general. It will spend the first couple chapters trying to find its footing, figure out what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
And then like once it does, then it's off to the races. But that's kind of the problem with first volumes, is like we're in that territory where it's trying to find what works and what doesn't. So yeah.
And yeah, as far as like characters go in it, I don't feel like I've spent enough time with them to really like. I have a bit of an attachment, I suppose, to Aladdin, but that's because he's the main character, right? So
yeah, and he does some interesting stuff too, right?
And he's like small and cute and like full of energy. But like the other characters, like Alibaba and some of the other people whose names I don't even remember. It's like, I don't know. Are they going to be around? Because like the first 2 chapters, you get introduced to these characters and then they just get tossed aside.
So I guess you kind of can find out whether one of them is continuing on in the manga, because she's right here.
I don't know which one that is. I can barely see.
That's the slave that he broke the chains of.
Oh, yes. I could tell. Yeah. You know how when you read like a manga or watch an anime, you can tell who's going to be a continuing or main character?
If they have an interesting character design, they're going to be a continuing character.
Yeah. As soon as she popped up, I'm like, oh, she looks cool. And then I was like, she must like be like a big character or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, so like the 3 of them are kind of like the main trio of the whole story.
Okay.
So like this volume is basically supposed to be introducing the 3 of them, basically.
Okay. So Slave Girl, Alibaba, and Aladdin?
Yeah. Aladdin. Okay. Alibaba and Morgiana. Yeah.
Morgana?
I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's like Morgana with like an I after the G.
It'd be Morgiana, I think.
Morgiana. Yeah.
Well, you watched the anime, didn't you? How do they say it in that?
I haven't seen the anime. I've only read the manga.
Oh, you haven't?
I've only read the manga.
It's a classic J move.
Yeah, come on.
Manga elitist.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, okay, side note, this has nothing to do with the review. The first OP of Magi is phenomenal. I love it.
Hasn't watched the anime, read the manga, exclusively watched the OPs. That's the most J thing ever.
Well, now I got to check out the OP.
I'm going to check out the OP too. And you should too, listener.
Just finish this episode first.
Yeah, finish this episode first. Yeah. Maybe if I remember, I'll put a card in here in the YouTube video. If I do this YouTube video, we'll find out.
There's a card in front that says he forgot or we forgot.
We forgot.
Yeah.
We forgot.
Oops.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, Jay, question for you about the main character, our little Aladdin man there.
Yes.
Well, does he continue to be such a pervert for the whole thing?
No, that's kind of one of the things that surprised me. I forgot how much of a pervert he is at the beginning.
Because I'm not a huge fan of like the Mineta type characters like that. Yeah. And it's just that was part of the reason I didn't get into it a little bit.
Yeah, it honestly, like when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he's like that at the beginning. But like when you learn more about him and you learn and like the story expands out and more world building happens and things like that, that part of him just kind of goes away. And they're like, okay, he was never like that. What are you talking about?
A little bit of retcon. They use it to get people to read at the beginning and then just kind of like brush it under the rug. Okay. Yeah. That's a good sign then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In terms of like the art, maybe it was just me, but I do get like Demon Slayer-esque art vibes from it. Did anybody else get that?
I could see that. It wasn't
like some of the like reaction shots of the characters were very like you could tell whoever wrote Demon Slayer was probably inspired by this.
Either inspired or worked as an assistant for them.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Maybe well, it was obviously just me who noticed that. I'll have to send you guys some examples or something. But
I like the little like chibi reaction images where like they just look like.
Oh, those are always good.
Yeah.
And those are kind of the reactions that I'm talking about.
Yeah. No,
like the reactions
I get
whenever
that,
what's the guy in the flute's name? But whenever the guy in the big dude in the flute came out, the reaction faces were awesome. Yeah.
Or I'll send you guys some examples. I don't want to like call up specifics to be. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, no, you don't need to.
Yeah.
It was good though. I wouldn't tell anyone that they need to read this. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a must read by any means. Yeah, those Jay. Jay's holding it up in the YouTube like video right now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's like a must read by any means. It's just okay so far for me.
Yeah, entertaining enough.
It has potential.
As far as like plot and world building go, like I feel like I haven't dived in enough to really comment on those.
Yeah.
I do like the idea. Like again, it's like it's the old J.J. Abrams, like giving you the mystery box, and you're intrigued to see what's in the box. What's in the box? What's in the box, boys?
Yeah.
Well, keep reading, and you'll find out. But like, what are these dungeons? Who is Aladdin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's enough.
Why does he have this genie in his recorder? Like, what's what's going on?
Why do that?
Yeah.
Where is Robin Williams?
I don't get the reference, but
good. Aladdin? Yeah, come on, Mike.
I don't know.
Wow.
I'm dumb. I'm a fool, man.
Mike's got that monkey with the symbols in his brain right now.
I do feel like the art in general was like very stylistic and very creative. I don't know if you got the same vibe, but I
like the
really
character designs.
Yeah,
I like the character designs. I wouldn't put this in like a top 10 list of anime art, if that makes sense.
See,
I think it's just okay.
It's kind of weird because like I wouldn't say like if you're looking for like Berserk super detailed art, it's definitely not that.
No, it's not.
It's not like, that, but like it's very imaginative and like it has more of that like child whimsy to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean.
It gave me a little bit of like Full Metal Alchemist vibes, kind of.
Yep.
Yeah. I can
similar
see that,
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd buy that. Any other thoughts before we give our final verdict?
No, I don't think so. I
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say like keep reading, because if you didn't like it, then it like I don't want to. I'm not really that kind of guy to be like, look, it gets good at around this point, because like.
But what point does it get good though, Jay?
Yeah, I feel like he's just like leading up to it.
I'm not the kind of guy to do this.
No. So like it gets good at around like maybe volume 4, I think.
Okay.
So another 20 chapters.
Around
that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But like I'm not really the biggest fan of being like, look, you just got to slog through all this and then it eventually gets good.
Sometimes it's true though. Like sometimes you got to slog through. Like early One Piece, it started. Honestly, I thought it started strong, but I've heard from people that they had trouble up until like Fishman Island arc there with like. Or Nami's little backstory.
The good thing about this though is I don't feel like it's a slog.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like I feel like it's good enough to hold my attention. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't know yet if it's my cup of tea.
Yeah,
you know?
like there are a couple of other variables that are added later on in the story that really flesh out the world and the characters and all that, and it makes it a lot better. But as it stands right now, it is a little bit flat. And it's really just like because it's in exposition territory.
Okay. So let's give our scores. Now remember, Jay, you've read the whole manga.
Yes.
This is just based on the first volume.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that being said, Jay, why don't you let us know what you'd score this?
So we do our scores basically based on what character we would rank it. Antagonist being the worst, protagonist being the best, and then going down, we got supporting character, background character, henchman, just in the middle. So with that in mind, I would give this probably a background. I think in terms of exposition, it's just starting to introduce you to the world, and it doesn't really do that much to completely enthrall you in the story of Magi. Yeah,
one thing I will say is it wasn't exposition heavy, which I liked. It wasn't spouting exposition, which was nice.
No, it wasn't doing that, but like because it is in the beginning stages, it's just like introducing you to this thing rather than starting its story, which is a little bit of a problem in my opinion.
Okay. Mikey?
I think it's good. I see the potential there for this. I think it could. I can see how it develops into like a good story that has like a lot going on. There's like there's enough set up that it's like kind of teasing you about what's going to come. It left on a great point to leave like the volume, honestly, that it kind of makes you pretty much have to continue reading because you want to know what happens immediately after. So I'll probably continue reading. I don't know when I'll continue reading, and I don't know if I'd recommend this to anyone because right now it kind of just feels unique, but also very generic at the same time. So I can't say this would be for anyone, but if you like shonen stuff, like your classic vintage shonen, you know what I mean? Like Dragon Ball and like OG Naruto and stuff like that, I think there's something here for you. You'd like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my score for this one will probably be a background character.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much echoing with what Mike said. I would probably be a little bit more open to maybe recommending it to people. I mean, the vast majority of anime fans are shonen fans, and I feel like this is borderline maybe like kind of a love letter to those vintage shonens like Naruto, like Dragon Ball, like One Piece, allegedly. I don't know. Never seen it. But yeah, I would again, I'm not 100% sure if this is my thing.
Keep in mind, guys, this did release in 2009.
Yeah, so it is. It's old, but it's not that old.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like it's kind of
a love
paying
letter.
Homage to those older anime and manga. Sorry, but I'll go with the background character for this as well. I definitely think that there's more good than bad here. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I feel like this probably would have been a better anime to review than the manga, but
maybe
you could.
Maybe we'll do that.
It's
maybe we'll
50 something episodes though, isn't it?
Season 1's 25.
Okay, season 1. There you go.
That's not bad. That's not bad.